I never thought it would end like this. Picture this, waking up one morning and stepping outside to find a 6-foot deep trench carved all the way around your property like some kind of prison moat. And standing there, shovel in hand, smiling at me like she was the queen of the world, none other than Bethany Cromwell, our HOA president. And what was she doing? Digging me into a hole, literally. A hole so deep I couldn't get out. No truck, no emergency vehicles, nothing. Just me, my house, and a massive dirt wall that appeared overnight, like some crazy landscaping project gone off the rails. The smell of diesel exhaust lingered in the cold morning air, while construction workers scrambled to pack up their gear. But here's what really made me see red, Bethany. She was just standing there, directing this whole thing like she owned the place. Like this was all just another one of her schemes. She thought she was untouchable. Too bad for her, my security cameras caught every single shovel full. I had proof. But what would you do if you woke up and found yourself trapped on your own land? And where are you watching from? I hope you can say your HOA isn't like mine, because if it is, well, you might want to sit tight. Let me back up and explain. My name's Marcus Whitfield, and 6 months ago, I thought I'd finally found paradise. After 22 years in the Army as an electrician and a divorce that left me feeling like I had nothing, I inherited my grandmother's place in Pinedale, Colorado. 2 acres of beautiful, untouched land. A 1940s farmhouse with creaky floors and a wraparound porch that whispered memories of her cinnamon rolls. A place so quiet it made Phoenix feel like a distant nightmare. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I could sit out on that porch every morning with my coffee, listening to the pine needles crunch under the deer's hooves, breathing in the fresh mountain air. The smell of pine sap mixed with morning frost. It was everything my grandmother loved about this place. She had built something permanent here, something real. But of course, nothing good ever lasts. Enter Bethany Cromwell, the self-appointed queen of our little HOA. A woman who could ruin your life with a smile. She's 45, armed with a real estate license, and has the kind of personality you'd expect from a piranha in a Prada suit. If you've ever had the worst HOA president in history, then multiply that by 10, because that's Bethany. She drove a white BMW SUV with custom PSB plates and carried herself like she invented mountain living. The worst part? She'd only been in town for 3 years, but acted like she founded the whole damn place. The sound of her heels clicking across my porch became the soundtrack to my personal hell. She ran the HOA board with an iron fist, turning meetings into a circus where she was the ringmaster. It didn't take long for her to set her sights on me. She sent me my first violation notice, claiming my grandmother's old chicken coop and tool shed had to be demolished. These structures had survived 40 winters in the mountains, but to her, they were a violation. And the fines? $150 a day, starting immediately. I figured it was a mistake at first, right? But then came the weekly inspections. Bethany would show up, unannounced, armed with her measuring tape and camera. She'd document everything. The work truck in my driveway, the blades of grass that she decided were excessive. She had this perfume that would cling to the air long after she'd left, as if she was marking her territory. But that wasn't enough for her. She started the complaints. Noise violations when I used power tools at noon on weekdays. Reports of suspicious activity whenever neighbors came over for help. One even claimed my grandmother's 40-year-old oak tree was a visual obstruction that lowered property values. But here's where it got real ugly. I wasn't the only one she targeted. She was going after every original family in the neighborhood. Harold next door, she hit him for a memorial garden his wife had planted. Sarah Chun, she got $500 monthly fines because of her kid's swing set. 3 families had already given up and sold out to escape her reign. I spent an entire weekend at the courthouse researching county codes. My grandmother's structures were legal, grandfathered in decades before any HOA even existed. So, I sent Bethany a certified letter with all the documentation to back me up. What did she do? She doubled my fines. That's when I realized something was wrong. It wasn't about maintaining property standards. This was about control. This was about intimidation and theft disguised as civic duty. Bethany was after something bigger. So I did what any guy with 22 years of military training would do. I started digging, and I found it. Her paperwork was wrong. My land wasn't even part of her HOA. I wasn't her jurisdiction. I sent her another certified letter pointing out the mistake. Guess what? Crickets. No response. Just more fines, more harassment. That's when I knew. It wasn't just a misunderstanding. This was a war, and Bethany had just picked the wrong veteran to mess with. A couple weeks later, after my second ignored letter, the county code enforcement showed up. They accused me of running an illegal auto repair business out of my property. I was dumbfounded. Auto repair? I'm an electrician, not a mechanic. But the complaint was legit. The photos showed vehicles in my driveway, tools scattered around. They even had photos of Sarah Chin's minivan and Harold's truck getting electrical work done. I played it cool and explained the situation to the inspector, but he wasn't having it. "Ma'am, I'm just following up on a complaint," he said. That's when I knew. Bethany wasn't just trying to find me. She was setting me up. So I fought back the only way I knew how. I bought a security system, 8 cameras, motion sensors. I wired up my property to record everything. If Bethany wanted to play dirty, I'd play smarter. It didn't take long before I had the footage. A few weeks later, I caught her on my property, lurking in the dark with a telephoto lens, photographing my workshop windows. I wasn't about to let her get away with it. Over the next month, I caught her 14 times, measuring my fence posts, photographing my electrical meter, even collecting soil samples from my garden. But the big break came when I realized something else. Bethany was using an excavation company that belonged to her boyfriend. I dug deeper, and I found something that made my blood run cold. 6 homes in our development had sold for far below market value, all bought by companies connected to Bethany. She was systematically buying up the neighborhood after running families off. My cameras had caught it all. Her trespassing, her harassment, her boyfriend's company marking property lines on my land. But I wasn't about to back down. I called my neighbors together. Harold, Sarah, even Margaret's memory. It was time to fight back. We weren't just fighting for our homes anymore. We were fighting for our community. The next 72 hours were like preparing for battle. We had everything. The financial records, the forged signatures, the security footage, everything. We were ready. And when the day finally came, when the town hall meeting opened, it wasn't just about property rights. It was about showing everyone what Bethany had been doing. She walked in with her designer outfit, her entourage, thinking she was still in control. But the truth was already out. The whole community knew. And when I presented the evidence, her forged signatures, the illegal property transfers, the audio of her confessing to stealing our land for mineral rights, it was over. Bethany's face went pale as the evidence was presented. And when it was all said and done, when the FBI showed up and arrested her for conspiracy, racketeering, and mail fraud, it felt like justice had finally been served. Now I sit on my grandmother's porch, sipping coffee, listening to the sounds of children laughing, playing, the way it should have always been. The trench is gone, replaced by flowers. The community is whole again. And Bethany? She's serving time for the crime she committed. Sometimes it takes a stand to remind us that even the smallest communities have a voice. A loud, clear voice that refuses to be silenced by greed and corruption. We prove that together. And now, the real healing can begin.